Hello, welcome back to Buckle Up. My name's Rob Wilson and this is a Hyundai Ioniq 5. And today I'm going to be asking the question, is this the best electric family car on sale today? Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about exterior styling because I think this looks excellent. It's like Back to the Future and it's just brilliant 80s sort of chic modern. Here's a nice little light bar with some pixels in it, the Ioniq 5 badge. You get a little H-track badge to let you know this is the all-wheel drive version. And then moving down the side, you get this absolutely fabulous angular crease here that just is I just love everything about this car. The wheels, look at these 21-inch wheels, such a cool design. And these little sort of blades that they have on the wheel surrounds, literally Blade Runner. How 80s is that? Cutting through the air. And then when we make our way round to the front, we can see nice little U-shapes in the lighting, cool little blades again, a nice sort of flat bonnet. It's very bluff and angular and 80s. It's like The Weeknd, the artist man band thing. You can tell I'm so hip and down with modern music, but it's like that as it's modern, but at the same time it's got that 80s synth sound to it. So it's like mixing modern and old. I like it. But anyway, let's move inside, out of the rain, quickly, please. Okay, so here we are in the front of the Ioniq 5 and it's very pleasant. It's less minimalist than a Tesla. You still have a big screen in the middle, but you also quite nicely get another screen directly in front of you for your driver information and speed and stuff like that, which is a bonus over the Tesla, which obviously has all of that on the central screen. You can't always read it. You also get a separate binnacle here for your climate controls, which is nice to have. It's better than having it all in the screen, but it is still haptic in its touch controls. It's not as intuitive as having proper buttons, so it's slightly better than it being in the screen, but not quite what I'd want. Things that I don't like is the fact that you have to go into the screen to get your seat heater and seat ventilation to work. I'd much rather just have a physical button that I could press and it was easy to get to rather than having to go through sub-menus and the like. Now they do have a way sort of getting around that, which is a little button here with a star on it, which means you can program it to be whatever you want it to be. So you could, in theory, program that to go straight to your heated seat, but again, a two-step process for what should just be a button. So that sort of covers those things. In terms of storage, well, we're spoiled for choice because we have large door bins which can fit a big bottle of water. They also fit in these cup holders in the middle, which is very nice. You have not a glove box, but a glove drawer that opens like that. Very much enjoy that. There is a little bit of storage in your armrest, and that can fully move out the way and reveal a large sort of area bin almost down here. Also down there is a spot for your phone to wirelessly charge it, and there's a couple of USB-Cs to plug your phone in. There's also some down here and a 12 volt and a huge bin down there as well. Because this is an electric car, it has lots of space because it's a flat floor. You don't need things like a transmission tunnel getting in the way, which means you can do things like this and move the center console forwards and backwards. That's very enjoyable. So if you want an armrest, you can bring it forwards. If you want more room, you can move it backwards and interfere with the people in the back. Steering wheel and its controls, all very easy to use. It's just little buttons that you can flick through the menus. That's very easy. Standard sort of stuff for your indicators and wipers. You do have a drive mode button, which you can press and switch between eco, normal and sport. You tend to leave it in eco most of the time. Another thing that I'm not quite convinced on is the gear selector or drive selector, because there are no gears. So if it's in drive, you have to flick this sort of switch to put it in reverse and put it in neutral and park, and I'd much rather have something down here where I'm used to it, because there's been a couple of times where I've needed to do 3-point turns and the like, where it's just not in an intuitive place. But anyway, that's sort of the front. Let's move into the back and see what's going on there. Okay, so now you join me in the back of the Ioniq 5, where I'm delighted to report that I actually fit, and that's quite a rare occurrence in cars. So headroom, if I sit up, my hair is just touching, but my actual head isn't, which is good. Legroom, and this is in my driving position. I'm 6'2" for reference, and I've got loads of knee room. I can slide my feet under the front seat. I can slouch, I can move these seats. These seats recline forwards, backwards, up, down, left, right. They go like this, so you can have more boot room. It's fantastic, really. I don't think I could have more room in a car, realistically, for me. In terms of little features and stuff back here, a couple of USBs down there. You've got a center armrest with 2 cup holders in it, and the outer back seats have heated seat functions, which you operate with this little button on the door. You have ISOFIX, and that's sort of it. Apart from this very cool feature, which is down under this seat here, which is a 3-pin household style socket, so you can plug in actual things. I can't think of any of them now off the top of my head, but if you wanted to charge like a phone properly, then you could do so from that plug. But there is another way to do that from the outside. So let's go and look at that now. And you can also use vehicle to load on the outside of the vehicle as well. It has the exterior charging port into which you can plug a standard household 3-pin plug, and then you can plug anything you want into it. And I've seen lots of YouTubers put stupid things into this, and I'm not going to get drawn into it. It's all just a bit ridiculous, really. Yes. Right, next. Okay, so now that's over and done with, let's move on to the boot, which I can open several ways: off the key, or if I can find the button, it's electrically assisted, as you would expect. And you can see quite a large amount of space, very wide, flat floor, charging cables there. There's a little bit of room for your not spare tyre and your other charging wires. But the actual literage is 527, and I know no one understands those measurements, so let me put it to you in simpler terms. That is about the equivalent of 0.0002 of an Olympic swimming pool, or 928 pints, or 21,080 shots for the alcoholics watching at home. Anyway, let's close that up and we'll go and look at the front boot. But before we talk about the front boot, I need to tell you about the batteries. Now, the Ioniq 5 is available with 2 different sizes of battery. They are the 58 kilowatt hour and 73 kilowatt hour. And you can get those in rear or 4-wheel drive, but only the 73 kilowatt hour one gets the 4-wheel drive. The others you can mix and match. But that does have an effect on the front boot, because this one is the higher powered 73 kilowatt hour battery, and that means that your front boot is only 24 litres, which is not very much. But if you had the rear motor one, then that would increase to 57 litres, so that would actually be sort of useful. But in this state, it's just sort of 2 shelves, and you can't really put anything in there, which is a bit of a shame, but you can't have everything, can you? Right, let's go and drive it. Right, okay then, so here we are out on the open road in the Ioniq 5. And, well, if I had to sum up the driving experience in one word, it would be nice. It's just a oh God, it's such a cliche, but it is just such a lovely place to sit while you just effortlessly float along the road. It is so serene and quiet and comfortable. So I guess the first thing I should talk about while I'm driving such a futuristic car is the technology that is on offer. So obviously it comes with all of the latest driver assistance systems, so that includes lane keeping assist and adaptive cruise control, and basically this car can drive itself. The only thing that's stopping that from happening is some legislation. But in theory, there's so many warning systems and camera systems that it's almost impossible to think of a scenario where you could be in trouble, because I've got a heads-up display in front of me. It's got the speed limit. It's telling me if there's cars in my blind spot. And another system for checking that as well is the when you indicate in this car, the screen changes so that I can see what's in my blind spot. That is just such a good feature, and I have no idea why everyone else doesn't have that on their cars. It seems to be only Kia and Hyundai that have that feature, and believe me, it's not a gimmick. It is so good and helpful and useful, and I think it should be rolled out across the entire industry, quite frankly. Your camera systems, as I can demonstrate on the screen, you have cameras pointing in every which way direction that you want, and you've actually got a full 360-degree camera where you can zoom out from your car and look at it like it's on an Xbox or a PlayStation in third person, and you can see your car and move the screen around to see what obstacles there are around the vehicle. There's obviously standard parking sensors and all that sort of stuff, but it's just so much tech on offer, really. It's quite extraordinary. I can address the lack of a Hyundai badge on this steering wheel, because instead of the usual H, you get 4 little squares. That represents the letter H in Morse code. So if you were wondering why there isn't a Hyundai badge, it's because they've decided to go down this route of having the Morse code for H instead of the badge, which I quite like. It's more sort of minimalist. It fits in better with the rest of the interior. So let's talk about range and efficiency and all of that sort of stuff. So this particular model is the 73 kilowatt hour 4-wheel drive variant, and it can do a claimed 298 miles. And I have no doubt in my mind that this car can do 300 miles on one charge. But could I do it? No, because I've got too heavy a right foot and I'm a bit of a child, really. So it's not really possible for me to have that mental capacity to sit and be as efficient as possible. But most of the week I've had this. It's been doing 3.9 miles per kilowatt, and that, if you don't know, is sort of the equivalent of what miles per gallon would be in a conventional petrol or diesel car. And for reference, 3.9 miles per kilowatt is about as good as it gets. That's anything 4 and above is really good. So 3.9 is what it's been doing this week, and I haven't been driving it at all in a sort of eco manner. So that gives you a real sense of just how capable this car is. The other thing is, as well, is I have charged it at a InstaVolt charging station, charged it up to 100%, and the readout told me that it would do 254 miles. And whatever that readout says, this car will do. It's not like one of those electric cars you get in it and it says it'll do 250 miles and then it doesn't, it'll do 150 miles. Obviously it's condition dependent, but this week it has been absolutely bang on with its mileage range predictions, which is really impressive because there aren't many electric cars out there that can do that. So that's really useful, because if the sat nav is telling you you can go that far, you can go that far. You don't have to second guess everything, which is great. In terms of driving dynamics, this is definitely set up for comfort over sport, and I welcome that. It's nice to get into a car that isn't set up to do the fastest lap around the Nürburgring for once. You know, the suspension is comfortable, the ride is compliant, everything is just so pleasant, the seats are comfortable. You could definitely sit and do 250, 300 miles in this. You would be absolutely fine. In comparison to its sister car, the Kia EV6, that car is definitely set up with more sporting intention. So if that's what you prefer, go for that one. If you just want a comfortable family EV, this is, you know, this is up there. This is right up there with the very best. The steering isn't like full of feel or anything, you know, it's just, it feels completely sort of predictable and safe, and that's sort of what you want in a family car. You can, if you want to be a complete Burke, and put it into sport mode and launch yourself from 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. So it's actually quicker than my GR Yaris, and my GR Yaris cannot carry 5 people in, well, sumptuous comfort, not relative comfort, because my God, this is just such a nice place to be inside. There's so much space because it's got a flat floor, there's no transmission tunnel, you can stick your foot in the passenger well if you want to, because there's just the space to do it. And I think that space is just such an underrated luxury, really. All of the materials are nice, it's nice and squidgy everywhere, everything your touch points are all just really nice. You've got like metal knurled bits on the end of your indicator stalk and your windscreen wipers and your drive select. And speaking of these lovely metal knurled bits, you have some paddles on the back of the steering wheel which feel fantastic. I think a lot of other manufacturers should take note, but these obviously, because there's no gears, control the regenerative brakes. So you can set the level of regenerative braking that you would like. I have mine currently in the highest level, which is level 3, and that's it basically means that you can almost do one pedal driving up to a point. I often find myself just using the regen to slow myself down and only using the brakes at the very sort of last bit as you come up to the junction or the car in front of you. And I also like that the pedals have a plus symbol on the accelerator pedal and a minus on the brake. It's a reminder that Hyundai can have a little bit of fun. I've just popped it into sport because I can demonstrate to you just how sort of ferocious this car is. I mean, this is a family car and it can do 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. Whee! Sorry, I just went over a little jump. But But yeah, once I get onto a straighter bit of road, like here, and I can just put my head back and go, whoa, it just absolutely takes off. Wheesh. That's the speed limit, so let's slow down. And it's not as you would expect with it being all-wheel drive. It's actually quite playful, this chassis. This seems rear biased to me, because when you put your foot down mid-corner, which obviously I wouldn't recommend you doing, the back does slide round first before the front goes, which is quite, that was very unexpected, and, you know, quite pleased with that, really. Let's put my foot down out this junction. Whee! Oof. What a fantastic car. So it's got everything. It's got everything. It's got space for 5. It's luxurious, it's quiet, it's relaxing, and it goes like a stabbed rat. What more could you want? Now, I don't want to sound like I'm just throwing praise at this car non-stop. So a couple of things that I don't like. As I mentioned before, I would like a heated seat button or ventilated seat button. It's quite wide when you're driving through town or on back roads, small, especially British B roads. It can feel quite wide when there's cars coming the other way, and you might have to go slightly on the verge to let them past. That's it. It's pretty much perfect. Well, there you go. I can't really think of too much else to talk about. So I'll hand it back to me now for a conclusion. Okay then, so summing up the Ioniq 5. Well, this is not simply good for a Hyundai, it's good full stop. Brilliant, in fact. There's a few smaller niggles that sort of bother me a little bit, but ultimately I think this is probably the best of these crossover-y, electric, hatchbacky things. I would buy one if I had the money, and I would have no hesitation in recommending that you also did the same. Okay, so there you go. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like, comment down below if you've got anything to say, but most importantly, hit the subscribe button to see our future videos. If you want to follow us in other fashions, you can do so in the description with all of our links to our social media. We're on pretty much everything nowadays. If you want some lovely merch like me, there's also a link down there. And if you want to contribute to the channel in other ways, you can become a member, or you can join our Patreon and see some exclusive behind the scenes stuff, as well as an exclusive podcast. Anyway, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.